I'm honored to be here. What questions do you have for me?
Well, I guess first, obviously you're Bob Lucido. You run one of the largest real estate teams in the country, in KW world. I guess, could you give us a brief how you got here?
Sure. I'm always honored when people ask me to speak to people like yourself and ask that question. I really want to put it back on you all to let you know that you all can do anything that I've done, and that no matter where you are in the journey, there's constant challenges. I was battling one prior to getting on this call. I'm 62 years old. I got in the business when I was 18. So if you can take some notes here, I'm going to give you some, and if you're driving, you might want to pull off the side of the road because I'm a big note taker and going to encourage you to take a lot of notes. Number one, make sure that you have a passion for this business because it will eat you alive if you don't, if you're not fully committed, fully engaged, and you need a great support group because you're going to have highs and lows. This business is a drug. It's a healthy drug. It's motivating, but it can be very challenging at times. So having a support group, having a team, people with you is very important. Two, I think it's really important that you get a coach and that you have you're a part of a team. I always tell people going alone is very difficult. Now I do think that there's some great individual agents in the country, but that a team, it's easier to go further, I think, with the team, and it's great support. So I'm going to encourage you to, one, get a coach, two, be fully committed, have your game plan, and be in this for the long term. I get passionate when people decide to want to be my partner. I get really upset, and I take it emotionally, personally, when they leave, because I believe in them more than they believe in them. You've got to stick with this. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme. I've had so many challenges and good things in this business, but perseverance has enabled me to get to where I am today. But I'm still battling every day. And one thing I want to share with you, I'm just like you all. I'm not a team leader that just sits in the office. I'm out running 7 days a week. I do open houses every weekend. I was on 4 listing appointments yesterday. So I'm doing everything you do. I'm succeeding and failing just like you. I got new home sales when I was 18, and I didn't know what I was doing. I had some great mentors, but they weren't coaches guiding me. So I got out of the business. And when I was 22, I interviewed with Xerox, and I went through 13 interviews over a 9-month period of time to sell copiers. And the day that Xerox offered me a job, I got a dream new home job. And a Jewish man became like a second father to me. Dick Dubin changed my life. So that one opportunity, that one door, had I gone into the copier business, you don't know what would happen. Just one opportunity opened up massive doors. So just when you're ready to quit and give up, there's huge opportunities on the other end.
Huh. So Bob, what made you go from getting back into home sales to building, your team that you have now? What was your first step? What was your first inclination that you need to have a team?
First off, I never thought I was going to be one of you all, meaning I sold new homes. I never really sold a resale to 2008. We had a new home sales company, and we were in 16 states. I had 300 employees. We sold $1 billion in sales, 3,000 houses a year. Things were great. I was 50 years old and not going to retire. I was 49, but I had 20 key people with me. We were having a blast. Now, here's one reason that I have passion every day and encourage you all to do the same. You got to find what you love. Back then, all I did was find land, look for builders, and go on builder appointments. I'm a rainmaker. I know who I am. I'm not in charge of technology, and I don't get in areas that don't interest me. Today, what interests me is listings, rainmaking again. So stay in your lane, what you're really good at. So we were selling new homes, and things were awesome, and we were making money. And anybody in the business in 2008? Well, congratulations on surviving, because that was the toughest market. I've been through 21% interest rates, the dot-com crisis. None of that compares to 2008. It was devastating. We were fine, but my builders went out of business. I was representing at the time about 80 builders. And we went from 250 sales a month down to 40. And my director of market research said, Bob, you should close the doors. So a very wealthy Jewish man took me to the lunch and I asked him, what should I do? He says, do you need $1 million? I said, I don't need any money. What's your advice? He said, I know this is going to hurt you because you care about people. Close the doors and get very liquid because we're in for a very bad time. I don't know how he predicted that, but it was even worse than what he expected. So close down that business. And by the way, closing down a business is harder than starting up a business. So we closed it down. I wasn't sure what I was going to do. I wandered into resales. I called Remax and said, did I come in? They took me in and my wife and I started just with the relationships we have with the builders. We started with like 5 people and then we grew our team. And now we're in, I think 25 cities and we're in Toronto and we have 4 offices in Maryland. But we still have our challenges, but we've learned so much. I've wasted millions of dollars not having a coach earlier on. I thought being around Gary Keller and some of these other top people was enough. I now have a coach that makes us accountable for what we're doing. And it's been a game changer. So if you can't afford a coach, I encourage you to find a vendor, really capitalize on your vendor partnerships. I don't take a dime from any of my vendors ever. I get them in a room and I say, I'm going to make you all multimillionaires. They go, great. I said, here's what's going to happen. Impeccable service. You got to respond when I need you. And number 3, we're going to do marketing events and we're going to do different things. I need you to invest in those events and you pay for those. They invest in those events, saves us money, and it's a symbiotic relationship. We have a partnership and it's a win-win for everybody. So we've grown with that, but I've made a lot of mistakes. But if you have, I would encourage you to get a coach. Be a part of a team. I think teams, it's tough being a solo agent unless there's a wonderful solo agent in California, Stephanie. She just has 4 assistants and herself, she grows 3.8 million. I think netted 3 million last year. That's pretty impressive on the 168 sales. But it's tough to do that. That's in California. And that's not the norm, but you could do it if you want to. Being a part of a team gets you in the swim lane really quickly. Because you can, like, our name is pretty well known here. So if you were a brand new agent here, if you knocked on the door here, it'd be tough to get a listing here. You knock on the door and say you're partners with Bob Lucido, or if I went to your town and said I'm partners with Kim Shellman, I get brand name recognition. So it's easier with the team. Fire away. I love questions, by the way. I love doing this rather than a seminar and me just talking for 30 minutes. I'd rather get a lot of feedback from everybody. So just fire away.
I'll go. I got another one. What was your biggest challenge in building your team?
By the way, I want to go back to this again because we've had several of our people leave our company to start a team. Be careful what you wish for. I love our team. I love what we do. I love my expansion partners, and we're getting ready to make a big announcement on another big team we're partnering with. So many good things. My wife and I have talked about it, and if I was to start over right now, I think I might just do my wife and I 3 or 4 assistants and build that. And having a team, people want leads all the time. You get worried about people leaving, taking other people. You're building a culture. You're building a team like a sports team. So I love the team on the one hand, and the other hand, I'm just coaching you. It's easier said than done. And if you're going to build a team, build a big team. Make it have relevance so that you have some dominance in the marketplace.
Bob, what kind of CRM does your team utilize?
CRM?
Yes, sir.
We use the Boomtown platform. We've got the whole technology team, and one thing we didn't do, and by the way, I'm so proud of our team. We're number 1 in the world, and we've made more mistakes than probably anybody out there. We didn't have an ISA department till 15, 18 months ago. Now we've got 7, and I want to have 20. I should have had that years ago. We've done it the hard way, and now we're being smarter.
So if you had to build a massive organization again, learning what you learned over the years, what are the top 2 things you do automatically off the bat in growing a team?
Great question. Who's that? Is that Dan?
Dan Torres, yes.
Okay, hi Dan.
Seeing you, yeah, Bob.
Good question. Number one, be careful who you're going in business with. I look for 5 things when I look for a partner. Number 1 is integrity. Warren Buffett says if they don't have that, the interview's over. Number 2, they're going to be a team player. I let go, sitting right here in the chair I'm in, 7 years ago, our top producer, who I recruited when he was 20 years old, because he was a cancer to the organization. So I need team players. Cal Ripken, who I was partners with, and we sold his house, said it's all about the team, not about his streak. It was all about the team. Number 3, they got to be coachable. I hate know-it-alls. I love a culture of coaching. I'm always being coached. I'm always looking. Tony Robbins has a quote. CANI, thanks, Patrick. Constant and never-ending improvement. I'm always looking to be better. And that's what challenges me every day, to be better athlete in shape, which is always a challenge with working a lot of hours, so compartmentalizing. I want to be the best in all that I can do. So number 1, so number 1, I'm looking for integrity, team player, coachable. Number 4, they have to have a servant's heart. You look at the best companies, Lexus, Ritz-Carlton, they're going to be great servers. I'm nothing but a servant in a nice suit. I'm a waiter. I serve people all day long. And if you don't want to serve, you're in the wrong business. And number 5, this is crucial. They got to have the tiger in their eye. They got to be passionate. I know a lot of people that are very smart, much smarter than me. My kids are all brilliant. Went to all these great schools. I told them, guys, the school's a bonus, but if you don't have the drive, if you don't have the initiative, I've seen a lot of lazy, smart people. So thank God, all my children, I'm very proud of them. They're passionate, driven, and much smarter than their father. But don't tell them I said it. But they're driven, and they have great work ethics. And I think that's one of the best things you can pass on to your children. And they see that by example. So number 1, be careful who you're partnering with. When we went into expansion, we were in 27 cities in 6 months. I was so flattered that everybody wanted to be our partner. 6 months later, we were only in 10. We were partners with the wrong people. All that time wasted, all that money wasted, millions. Because when we do something, we do it first class. So be careful who you enter into your world, and always have agreements with people. Trust but verify and confirm. I like people that are going to be with me for life, and we can build something really big. I don't like short-term thinkers. So that's the number 1 thing, would be careful who you're being, and you're entering into your world, you're being partners with. Number 2, once again, I'll tell you, is get a coach, but be very careful. I was luckily that I was able to consult regularly with Gary Keller, but I hired a coach in MAPS, and this coach was carefully selected for us, and he's perfect for us. So we have a scheduled call every week, and he drives our company, makes us accountable, and it's really important. So be careful who you surround yourself with, and have a great coach. Because we're all not experts in areas. I mean, I could teach anybody here luxury. We're the luxury leaders in the world. I could teach you all how to rainmake and get 10 listings next month. I can't teach you on our CRM. I can't teach you on some other things, but I know what I'm good at. So stay focused on what you're really good at, and then delegate or hire for those other areas.
Question in the chat is, where do you think the market is heading, and any specific strategies you are working on to prepare for it?
There's a great book by Andy Grove. And by the way, if you ever talk to Gary Keller, he won't end a conversation without recommending a book for you. I'm going to answer your question in a second. In fact, I want to make a note so I don't forget what I was going to say. I was talking to him. I called him about a year and a half ago, and I didn't like where we were headed, what we were doing. Immediately he said, Bob, I'm going to, we've all been in the same situation. I'm going to send you a book. I encourage you to read it. I couldn't put this book down. I woke up every morning, raced down. I couldn't wait to start reading. Called Pizza Tiger by Tom Monahan, the founder of Domino's. And Gary, I remember him saying, he goes, what a failure that guy was. He's a billionaire. He failed more than anybody. And Gary made me look at the challenges as really opportunities in disguise and to press on and to reinvent yourself. So I called him one day and I said, I'm not pleased. And I was fortunate. He said, come on out to Texas, and was able to spend 4 hours and really focus time. And we turned our company into a lead generation machine. He said, if you don't want to worry about recruiting ever, turn your company into a lead generation machine. Reward people high splits on their business, low splits on your leads. And that's revolutionized our company. So not everybody has access to Gary, but you have access to some other people. So that was a game changer. But to answer your question, where do you think the market is? There's a book by Andy Grove, the founder of Intel, called Only the Paranoid Survive. I'm the most optimistic person you're going to meet, but I'm always calculating my risks. So you want to be cautious. This market is not going to stay this way forever, guys. Markets are cycles. What goes up goes down. So be very careful with what you're doing. These 3% interest rates won't be around for long, the way the government's spending. So I never saw the crash coming of 2008 the way it did. So I think the inventory is going to start to level out a little bit over time. More people are going to put their houses on the market. I think interest rates are going to go up considerably because I think there's inflation down the road. That's just me. Rates are too low, and we have massive spending. It's ridiculous spending. Enjoy it while it's here, but position yourself. And Gary's always got us cutting our belt, tightening our belts and cutting costs. We cut about $1.5 million out of our budget last year and did much better. I mean, COVID was actually a blessing in disguise. Never would want to have it happen again, but it made us really look at our business and look at it differently. And it brought some opportunities. So be cautious, be optimistic, be extremely optimistic, but be cautious. It's not going to be New Year's Eve forever. But while you're here, run like heck. I'm doing 3 open houses this weekend. Why? Because I love giving, one, I get listings from it. 2, I love giving leads to our team. So you get lots of business from open houses.
Bob, when you look to expand and expansion partners, are you looking at the market, or are you just looking for the right person, the right fit?
Well, I'm looking at all of you right now as potential partners. And you should be interviewing me the way I'm, talking to you all. I'm always looking for talent all the time. I'm at the restaurants. I give out my cards all the time. I am a recruiting machine. I'm always looking for great talent. So, Gary had what he calls the Walmart grew by what he called the ink blot strategy, where if you put ink down, spill it on a table, they'd go to all those areas, and that, Walmart didn't go from here to Connecticut. They went right around their hometown in neighboring states. He likes that strategy, but then he's also advised us, and through trial and error, I'll tell you what we have found. We never thought we were going to Toronto, Canada so soon. At family reunion, I met a lovely family, and now we're partners in Toronto and have a thriving business there. So if the right person's there, I'll go to Italy tomorrow if it's the right person. I want people at my level, my energy level and above. I don't like I used to coach kids in sports. I don't like motivating people. I want people to want to drive me, to be motivated, be self-motivated. I coached my sons in baseball. One of them made professional baseball. And I remember parents used to come up to me and they said, Bob, can you motivate my son the way your sons are? I'm like, well, thank you for the compliment, but no, I can't motivate your sons. They said, really? I'm like, yeah, all I can do is create an environment for them to want to succeed and to excel. They need to do it themselves. So I'm looking for people that are partners that want to take their business to a whole nother level. I think one of our partners just said they doubled their business in the last 12 months with us in Atlanta. In Toronto, they said, we've never had it so great. So that challenges me and inspires me to help people become multimillionaires and help them grow their business better than anybody else. There's other top people in KW that can talk to you about technology and talk to you about certain things, and they're wonderful. Got a lot of respect for some of my peers. Not boasting, I'm just saying. I don't think there's anybody that can on the planet that can talk about generating business the way that I can. I'm in the trenches, and we have so many avenues of generating leads, and that's what it's all about. You have leads, you've written your ticket, and that's what I'm passionate about. Is that segment of the market. That's what I'm really good at. I don't profess to be experts in other areas.
So with the market going the way it is, with low inventory, people buying houses left and right, how have you shifted your business to accommodate the shift in the market?
We're heavily focused on pursuing listings.
Hi, Patty. This is Sammy Pat.
If you're not circle prospecting, if you're not knocking doors, I went to a Cody Gibson. I love Cody. He was, and it was like 30 ways to get 30 listings in 30 days. I sat in the room with 500 other people, and I got one thing out of it, just one thing. Every night on my way home, I knock on the door of expired or for sale by owner. I've made millions of dollars that way. Great idea. Got it from Kobe. So I have a plan. It's part of my routine. I take a different route home, and I'll go knock on the door. I don't send letters. I don't make calls. They get bombarded with people. You all are beautiful people on this call. Let them see who you are. Selling is a belly-to-belly, face-to-face contact sport. They got to see you're a professional. Now today, unfortunately, there's not a lot of houses that aren't selling, but there's for sale by owners, and you got to convince people why Now, let me share this with you. You got to write this down because this might be the best thing you're going to hear today. It's not about selling houses today. If you tell somebody I can sell your house, that's like a lender saying, I've got good rates. That's just boring, right? We've created something which I call we want to complete the home run. We want to do the home run when we sell your house. They go, what do you mean, Bob? I say, I'm not just interested in selling your house. Anybody can do that. Then why don't I do it for sale by owner? Because here's why. One, I'm going to net you the best price because we create incredible urgency with a 5-day Lucido trademarked listing blitz with an open house and 5-day program. We sell our houses in 5 days. By the way, we had this program before this crazy COVID market. So I'm going to net you a higher price. What's more important, commissions or higher net price? Higher net price. Okay. Number 2, I'm going to work to get you a inspection waived. Number 3, no sense to me selling it for a great price if it under appraised. I'm going to work to get the appraisal waived. And number 4, I'm going to work to get you a free rent back. That's the home run, and that's where my skill level comes in over anybody else. If you add all that up, it might be $50,000 or $100,000 that I'm going to save you. So is a half a point commission really worth discussing right now? Okay. It's those 4 things. I call it the home run, and we're creating a flyer for that now because I say it so often. I just want to be able to put it in my listing presentation and share it with people.
Is there a price point you look at for expansion?
I'm sorry?
Is there a price point, an average sales price that you look at for expansion?
I'm looking for partners like, let's say let's say Tom and Kim together have 15 million of volume. You want to form a partnership and expand? I'd love to be your partner. We normally look for about 15 million. Below that, which we took before, we were funding everything, and that's no fun. So we want people, we've got partners that are 15, 30 million, 100 million. So it's a lot more fun when everybody's participating and get skin in the game. So we were bringing on partners at 4 million. I'm like, great, but it's not working. So we're looking for a leader who's got 15 million and above, or there's 2 people. If you can bring 15 and combine, then we can go from there. But that's what we're looking for. Price point. The only time it didn't work, your state's wonderful because of the prices. We were in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. Actually, my son went to school there. The prices were like 150 to 200,000. Their absorption was like 1 or 2 a month. Sometimes that low volume just is tough to make it work, because I believe in delivering excellent value. And if I deliver all that, the bottom line isn't there. So it's all a numbers game.
Howard asked, can you explain the Bob Lucido home run again?
Sure, it's just something that I created, being out of listings. And guys, I go on more listings than probably anybody in the country, and I know what works and what doesn't work, and I'm constantly succeeding and failing. So I was talking to somebody, I'm like, yeah, you want to hire me for this, this, and this, those 4 things. Like, I mean, that's like a home run. I haven't found another term yet, but it's the home run. Here's what, and they're like, hey, I like that. I like that. They can really resonate to that. So it's the highest net price. You got to tell them how you're going to do it. Just can't say, I'm going to deliver highest net price. I'm going to do it by doing this. I create massive urgency. I believe in auctions for high-end houses. I sold Cal Ripken's house by an auction. We sold some other, we have a $10 million house in Bermuda right now for auction. Auctions create urgency. I don't like the word auction. It should be accelerated marketing effort. That's another word for auctions. It creates incredible action. We'll get Cal Ripken's house. We had 2,000 people there in 2 weeks. Where else do you get 2,000 people? Auctions. So 1, I'm going to net you a higher price with the way we create urgency. Number 2, I'm going to work to get your home inspection waived. Number 3, I'm going to get your home. If we get competing offers, I'm going to get your appraisal waived. Number 4, I'm going to get your free rent back. They're like, I really like this. You're talking in terms of their interests, and you're different than anybody else. Okay.
Quinn asks, as most organizations get larger, there can be tendency for institution to dampen the inspiration. How have you seen KW's core values help push forward the vision of our company?
Growing is a real art that we have not mastered, but we are a work in progress. We've had our challenges, recruiting the wrong people, tolerating certain things. Oh, this is perfect. I went to a wedding in California that was, I don't know if you've heard of Tony Giordano, and I was at his wedding, and he sat me next to at the table. I got my master's degree at that wedding. I sat next to Mo Anderson, one of the senior people of Keller Williams. If you all don't know her, very wealthy lady. And I love her down-to-earth philosophies. And somebody gave me this 30 years ago. I keep it with me. It's my little notepad. I just keep it with me all the time. I was taking notes, and they took pictures of me, like during the reception. I was just taking notes. I was asking her like all these questions. I mean, when you get around somebody really successful, don't talk, just listen. And I take a lot of notes and a lot of questions. And she said, Bob, you know what the number one thing I'm most concerned about our business today? I said, what? She said, standards. If you don't have standards, you're doomed. Now, when somebody who's worth 200 million or whatever, very wealthy person, or Gary, who's a billionaire, talks, I listen. I don't try to invent my way. I piggyback over the other people's success. So she said, that's what she's most concerned about. And she said, I have a interview process. I tell people, I'm going to ask you one question. It's going to be a very long interview, or it'll be a very short interview. Depends upon how you answer this question. She has literally at times said, thank you for coming, and stood up and dismissed the person in 10 seconds. I'm like, what is this question? She goes, if I'm interviewing you, Kathy Pelleggi, if I'm interviewing you, Kathy, I'm talking to. She says, other than your family, your faith, What are you most proud of what you've accomplished in your life?
Helping others.
I'm sorry?
Am I supposed to answer that? I'm sorry. Helping others.
No, well, that's good, but that would be in her fit, not enough.
Okay.
She would want you to go into, well, starting a nonprofit and helping disadvantaged kids in the city really inspired me and made me see the other side of the world, and go on. She said stuff like that would inspire her and show work ethic and show a lot. If they talked about something else, it would enlighten her as to this is not a good fit. So that one question, for what if you ever want to use it, she uses it every time, and she said it's been amazing. Gary Keller openly says, I mean, Keller Williams wouldn't be where it is today if it wasn't for Mo Anderson. So incredible lady, and setting standards. Getting back, I don't think we set enough standards. You know, I believe people are independent contractors. I treat them as partners. I don't treat them as you got to do this. I don't run with it. I run by example, not by a stick. But I don't think in the years I initiated enough standards. I expected people to just follow our standards. And we should have clear standards, making people more accountable.
Now, Bob, how do you obviously the customer experience is number one, or should be number one. How do you hold your expansion partners to the higher standard that you require?
Gary said this during when we were just starting with expansion. He said, when you do expansion, it's going to make your hub business better. We get to start over every day when we partner with a new expansion team. It's easier with expansion to establish new standards because you're coming in as the expert and you're establishing stuff that you've learned before. You've walked through the minefield. So, and we have two incredible ladies, Andrea and Carol, who lead, they're former team leaders. They're just unbelievable. And they have incredible standards. And they're setting it. And I'm kind of a ready, fire, aim guy. They're a ready, aim, then fire, which is much better than my philosophy. So they have a much better process with that. So holding people accountable and establishing those standards. And then if they're not a good fit, what does Keller Williams say? We help them relocate or disengage, or there's another word for it.
De-hire?
We help them, I forget the word, but anyway, if it's not a good fit, you gotta let it go. You can't have any cancers in the organization. But setting standards, that was most. I'm afraid of not having enough standards in our business. So fire away. Any other questions?
Bob, I have a question for you. You said you transformed your business to a lead generation machine. Can you tell me more about like what methods and how you did that and what your sources of business are that you're targeting?
We used to always, I'll give you guys 10 or 20 ideas now to generate leads if you want. Here's how we used to do leads. People would call me down the room. I get a lead. I call Matthew here. Hey, Matthew, I got a lead. Call Joe Jones. Here's the number. Great. That's it. No accountability. Don't put them on a drip campaign. We didn't know whether that person took the lead, made it, closed it. No accountability. They left the company. They stole the lead. Terrible. I mean, who would do that? I could write a book and it would be a bestseller on what not to do to make millions. And I could share it with you. So now every lead, if I give you Pat, it goes through our lead department. They categorize it, send you an email. It's in our agreement that that's our lead. We put them on drip campaigns. We now nurture that lead much better than it ever was before. But let me give you some good things on generating leads. You want to write these down? Ready? I'm just going to ramble and just shoot. This is what I like doing best. Number one, open houses. I've told you, but make it an event. You get tons of people there. If you're on stage, make yourself stand out. Open houses. If you don't make $200,000, $300,000 a year from open houses, you're doing them wrong. just from that one lead source. Number two, circle prospect successful listings. I teach my people, I got 10 contracts on a house, only one winner. There's 9 others. Take those 9 contracts, go door to door and say, I got 9 people that lost. They want to overpay in your neighborhood. Would you like to sell? Number 3, just listed, just sold cards. Number 4, relationships with builders. Create a relationship with builders. Either list their homes or with national builders, handle their resales. Number 5, an ex-partner of mine who was a school teacher became one of the wealthiest people in the county doing this. So I started doing it 30 years ago. Finding unimproved land. Going to the tax records and finding unimproved land. You go to the tax record and it says Kathy Pelleggi, or that's your name, and it says that you live on Smith Street and the mailing address is Smith Street, you live there. If it says the house is, the property is Smith Street, but your mailing address is, it says unimproved, and the mailing address is somewhere else, it means it's a vacant lot. You find vacant lots, you got builders, you got people, it's a great way, nobody's going after it. Number 5, aged expired listings. I'm so proud of this one, so proud of this one. I knocked on the door of a $1.3 million listing, lovely lady. And she was Chinese. I'm not Chinese. She spoke Chinese and I don't speak Chinese. All she could say, I could say is, because I knew I was going to come back with a translator, is I said, Saturday, 1 o'clock. She'd go, Saturday, 1 o'clock. I go, okay. I got a translator. I went to her house, met her. I've never heard of that Google Translate. That's how lack of technology I am. She's asked me a question in Chinese and then it translates, but then my translator's there. Long story short, we just settled for 1.3 million on a house because I knocked on a house that was expired 9 months ago. Would you do it for a $30,000 commission? Sold it in 5 days? Aged expireds. Next, be a part of the community. I'm Catholic and I donate money. I'm in the bulletins, these 5 Catholic churches. Anybody buys or sells with me, I donate $1,000 back to the church. Gary calls it intentional giving. I get people saying, refer to Bob, we need money in the church. So when people ask me now for money, I go, yeah, I'll give you money. You refer me this person, I'll give you $1,000 to your organization. Be careful writing checks. Do it when you get something. It's better to give after you get, so you can give more. If you keep giving without getting, you won't have any more. You won't have any more to give later. Become a part of the community. The soccer fields here, the baseball fields are named the Bob Lucido fields. I'm a part of the community, and so I get a lot of leads that way. Your database goes without saying. You got to nurture your database. I get tired of hearing about it, but it's the same thing over and over again. But it's back to the basics that makes you successful. Vince Lombardi used to tell everybody this is a football. And he was one of the best coaches ever. Back to the basics. If you're not nurturing and working your database, which we have not been doing a good job of, but that's one of our core priorities this year, is recruitment, better recruiting, and database, and making those really. So we are getting, by the way, now a lot more repeat business because we've initiated some initiatives there. So your database, what drip campaigns do you have? Are you calling back your past sellers? We get a lot of business from listings we sold and we didn't bring the buyer. The buyers are hiring us. So now be careful with this, but you could go back to your past clients, houses you sold, and contact the buyers that moved into them. Say, would you like to sell your house for $100,000 more? I've got a buyer for it. Divorce attorneys, networking with community organizations, the business groups, the Rotary clubs and stuff like that. But really your repeat customers, you're delivering exceptional service to your clients and showing appreciation. Like one of my clients just referred me. I signed it last night, as a matter of fact, a $925,000 listing. When they refer me somebody and I call and thank you, but I just sent him to the Capitol Grill for dinner, April 17th. So think he's going to refer me business? I think so. So I give to get and I show appreciation. It's fun to do that. And we have client events. We didn't do them last year, obviously, but we're doing them this year. Trips to New York City, dinners. Then people tell their families. Oh, this has been huge. A couple of the people on our team have been advertising in neighborhood community pages, Pat. Neighborhood groups. Oh, that's been awesome. They've been getting listings left and right. I've not done that, but they have. So I've got a whole list, but anyway, I thought that some of those items might help you. Luxury homes. I love expired luxuries. If you're ever selling a luxury home, consider the auction process. That's a whole nother conversation, but the auction process is, if you list a luxury home, $2, $3, $4, $5, $6 million, I think there's a more than a 50-50 chance you're getting fired. Normally it's the second or third agent gets the sale because normally they overprice it. With an auction, you got a 90% chance of getting paid. But it's a deeper conversation, so I just thought I'd whet your appetite with that. One of the wealthiest men in Maryland, we're involved in an auction with him in Bermuda tomorrow. $10 million. And auction, there's no desperation, there's no money problem. It creates urgency. But that's another conversation.
Just curious, when you do the auction, do you run that yourself or do you partner with an auctioneer or?
We have a partnership with an auction company. Email me if you're interested and I'll put you in contact with our preferred auction company who does auctions all around the world. And they do yachts. They mainly do houses and estates and high-end land. They're in the Bahamas now, Bermuda, all around the country. I've worked with a couple auction companies. This one's the best. We just were involved in Tom Clancy's condo. He paid $12 million for it. He died, the famous author. We were involved in that. It went by auction. So.
I have a question for you, Bob.
Okay.
What is your why?
What's my why? Most importantly, make sure you know what your why is. Why are you doing this? I do it for several different reasons. One, when I first started this company, my wife and I have never had a goal of being number one. We had a goal of being the most respected team in the nation. Two, for everybody on the team to make money, including Pat, our front office manager, who's been with me 30 years. Everybody to make money and for everybody to have fun. When it stops being that, so right now I've got my daughter as our director of marketing. My son works together with us. It's fun. I mean, you feel like you're contributing, making a difference. It's fun. And when I can help our partners achieve their goals, and that's very rewarding, that's inspiring, and that gets me up and motivates me. When it stops being fun like that, so I envision myself doing this probably forever. But what I want to do is travel the world with my wife and visit my partners like you all in your office, spend a day, go to dinner, and the next day or next 2 days, have fun. So my perfect picture, I'm going to Italy, talking to our team of 100 people there, then spending the next 7 days traveling Europe and having a great time. And helping them achieve their goals. So if you can combine that, make it fun, it's great. So that balance is a hard thing to do. So I'm working on it.
And filming the trip on.
Oh, and of course, bring Pat. And Pat would be filming the trip. By the way, Pat is our videographer, and more than that, he's team spirit. He's knowledgeable on our team calls. He asks a lot of real estate related. He could be a great agent, but he's chosen his area that he's passionate about, and he serves very well. An incredible videographer. I really mean that, Pat. Everybody loves you. So forming your team, whether it be your vendors, your team members, whoever it is, the team is the most important thing you could have. And I've been very good over the years with selecting team partners over the years. I made my mistakes, but that's contributed one of the biggest contributors to any success we've had is the people that I've been in partners with. I'm talking about one of the best partnerships we have is a guy I've known for 30 years, Dudley Dixon. His father-in-law is the one that has the $10 million house in Bermuda, by the way. He has the program. We have a help program where essentially they'll go in and do work on people's houses. This has been a secret weapon of mine for the last 10 years. I started this program by accident. I went into your house, Stephanie, and your house needed a granite countertops and it needed painting. It needed about $40,000 worth of work. And although you're very wealthy, all your money is in assets and you don't have any cash. So this program defers payment till closing. They don't put any money up front. Well, my son is partners with Dudley on that. And they're in 25 of my personal houses right now, personal listings. And they're now partnered with Keller Williams and they're doing it nationwide. It is a game changer. When I'm at listings, I'll call, like if I'm with Megan and Megan, we're looking at your house, you see this work done. I pick up the phone and call my stager and Dudley. I'll schedule an appointment with them the next day to come take a look at the house. Nobody's going to give them that level of service. So my closing ratio on listings is very high because I have the team. You've got to assemble your team. Who's your team? Not just the agents you're going to recruit, but who's your team? Who's your vendors? Who are the people that are going to make you successful? That program has helped me more probably than any other program I have. It is a huge program, and we found it by accident. If you need $5,000 of work, he'll finance it. His largest job with us, I think, was $240,000. He deferred it all to closing. So, huge program. And they're rolling it out nationwide, and because people have been asking for it. So we're taking it to our expansion partners and give them a competitive advantage in the marketplace. Okay, I guess we have time for about 2 more questions.
Yep. So Bob, what's your goal for 2021?
Well, I used to set goals monetarily, and we do have monetarily goals. But we were at when we came to Keller Williams, we were at 253 million. Write that down, 253 million. And in 4 years, we went to 858 million, but made tons of mistakes. So we came back and we went to 750 million. And then last year, I think we were at 930 million. We will break 1 billion this year, but that's not that's nice. And we're going to do that. But my main goal is to master lead generation, recruitment, and database, because that will take care of everything else. So I can impress you and say all these great numbers. And then actually last year, when I met with Gary, it was 18 months ago in November, I was really upset. So here's our goal. And we exceeded this past year. We have a goal this year. I said, Gary, I'm not going to get on stage with you until we hit this goal, and then you can tell everybody we made hit this goal. So we have a goal, and but the income goals are important. But what truly turns me on more than anything else and inspires me more is hitting the recruitment goal, the retention goal, the lead generation goal, and the database goal. That would solve all my problems in the world. Because I can get to, we showed we can get to 858 million, 900 and some million, but I want to do it highly profitable, make all my partners very wealthy, and do it in a cohesive way where everybody is feeling great about the process. And this all sounds great, guys. There's a lot of hard work and a lot of anger and tears behind the scenes that go in this. We're sweating just like you all, so don't think it's real easy here in Maryland. We're the same challenges you have every day, we have them times 2. And you get larger, you get larger challenges. So it's not all a piece of cake, and we're humble, we're hungry, we're grateful, and we're constantly learning. And I can't kick myself in the rear end too much for wishing we'd have done stuff down. That's history. I don't go in the back. I'm looking straight ahead. Okay, one last question.
I've got one for you. What is one piece of advice you would get to someone who's just starting out?
And that was it asked by
Christine.
Christine. Okay, Christine. I think I kind of already said it, Christine, but I'll say it again. It's a quote in my office by Winston Churchill, "Don't quit." And I've seen people in this business who are on my team and not on my team making money. I'm like, I can't believe they're doing it. But they're like a little cocky, self-confident, they are, and perseverance, and they're doing the system. Then I see somebody, let's get all the qualities, but they don't have the initiative or lack the self-confidence. I think you got to master yourself first. A friend of mine used to speak nationally, Rick Willis, and he got on a plane once, and there was Evander Holyfield. Remember the great fighter? Evander Holyfield, world heavyweight champ. He went back there, very large gentlemen were there. He said, no autographs. He says, I don't want an autograph. I want to ask Evander one question. He said, all right, you got 45 seconds. For the next 2 hours, Rick sat next to Evander Holyfield on a flight and interviewed him and talked. And Evander shared with him his story. He said, what's the one question? What makes you the greatest fighter in the world? I'm going to ask you, Christine, what makes you the greatest salesperson in the world? It's going to be the same answer that Evander gave. He doesn't worry too much about the competition, although you should know what the competition is doing. He says, I work on making Evander Holyfield the best every day. I work on my body, I work on this, I work on that, and I become better every day. Are you working to become better every day? What is your betterment program? What are you really doing? My friend Jeff Glover, who has a great training program, and I've even signed up and paid for some of his classes. Jeff does a great job. He has a sign in his office. I love it. If you haven't gone on appointments and met a client today, what really have you done? I mean, let's get real. I'll share something with you. I went to a seminar when I was 18 years old. I could barely afford to pay for it. It was $49. Anybody remember Tom Hopkins?
Sure.
He was he was the nation's top speaker. At the time, it was a lot of money. It was $10,000 a day he got to speak. I was there with 5,000 people. It was a great day. At the end of the day, somebody came up and said, Tom, you wasted all of our time. Dead quiet. He said, what do you mean? He said, Tom, the seminar was 8 hours. It could have been 10 minutes. He says, what do you mean? He said, all you had to do was tell people this. Here's how you become a millionaire. And that's the seminar. Everybody was like, what is this? Just like you are, like, what is this? Well, those are two belly buttons. He said, Tom, if you go belly to belly, face to face with 5 to 10 people a day, you'd be a multimillionaire. Gary said it on stage. Here's how you may have $1 million income. He mapped it out. I think it was 9 appointments a week, something like that. Or there's a program for it. It's all about face to face. What I do, you all are better than me in some areas, but what I do better than all of you here is that I'll meet more people today than any of you all will. I'll be belly to belly, face to face with everybody. I don't touch a piece of paper after 9 o'clock in the morning. I get up, I've always gotten up very early. That's your quiet time. That's your time for yourself. The morning miracles are great, but I read the book and I met him in Toronto, a seminar, a lovely man. But I was getting up early in the 90s, in the 80s. I just got into this, getting up at 4:30, 4 o'clock, and you just become acclimated to it. That quiet time in the morning is your time to do the stuff that you want to do and work on you. So I have a series of readings I do every day and things, and different quotes, and read a page of the Bible every day. I think I've read the Bible 5 times in the last 30 years, just because I read a page a day. And I read other stuff. So your morning is your powerful time to refuel and to get your stuff together. But that was the key to success right there, was belly to belly, face to face. So to answer your question, believe in yourself, have a system, Surround yourself with winners. Don't give up on yourself, but have a process and hire a coach. And have an accountability partner, for gosh sakes. It's free. Your partner sitting in your office. You hold me accountable each week. I promise I'm going to knock on these many doors. I'm going to do 1 or 2 open houses. I'm going to do these items. Don't show me your calendar and I'll tell you how much money you're going to make. I'm not impressed with what you tell me you're going to do. I'm impressed with looking at your activities. And if you're not making money with doing a lot of activities, I'll stick with you because I know the success is going to come. If you keep doing your activities, when you stop doing the basics, you're doomed. I sold the house became a family friend of ours, Oral Hall of Famer Paul Blair. He said, Bobby, I never, whenever I was in a slump, I never went worse than 0 for 9. I said, what do you mean? He says, because when I was 0 for 9, I'd lay down a bunt and I knew I could beat it out and I got a hit. And that psychologically sent me on a positive momentum and I would break myself out of a slump. You all, I love activity. I don't think I could sell $100 million homes and sell 2 a year. I need positive reinforcement. I would rather sell, $100 million homes than $100 million home, if you know what I'm saying. Like I need that positive winning and inspire. So if you win, if you get a rental or a low price rent, don't count the dollars. You won. You got a happy customer. Now domino that success. Don't, to cheer my daughter on Lauren when she in tennis. And in tennis, you can't talk to the players. But we would have a secret. I had a code, and she knew it was me. It wasn't illegal, but I would say the big mo, which is momentum. Lauren, you got the mo. You got the mo. And that made him get this energy like she felt like she got it. And she was get back into the groove. You need your mo. You need your momentum. And just one little bunt or one little rental can just change your whole outlook. And don't blame your broker, your team leader, everybody else for your lack of success. Look in the mirror. They're there to help you and guide you and support you. But if you want to pay raise, it's really easy. Look in the mirror. I hope this was helpful.
It was. Thank you for coming on and sharing all this insight with us.
Thank you, Pat. Did everybody get something out of this?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Sure,
Thank you.
very much.
Definitely.
Sure, I would consider this a failure if each of you didn't get one thing you could take action on and improve your business. So help me to not fail by taking action. I would not be the person I am if I didn't ask for 2 things. Three things. Number one, thank you for giving me this opportunity. Number 2, if you know anybody looking to buy or sell or rent in the state of Maryland, please contact me, Bob at boblucidoteam.com. We'll pay you a generous referral fee. We'd like to partner with you. Number 3, I'm always looking for great talent. If you are inspired and you'd like to talk about a potential partnership, we'd love to have a conversation. Okay? Great. Well, thanks everybody for giving me this
Thank
opportunity.
you.
Make it a great weekend. And if I can do it, you can do it.